into her own hand, and she gave her servant to Abram to make a baby. And at this time, he was 86 years old. Again, old people don't have babies. Then in Genesis 17, God requests that Abram makes a covenant with him, and he changes his name to Abraham, and he changes his wife's name to Sarah. Are you ready, Daniel, for the verses? Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know you're ready. Okay, so Genesis 17, God says to Abraham, regarding Sarai, your wife, her name will no longer be Sarai, but from now on her name will be Sarah. And I will bless her, and I will give you a son from her. Again, what can't old people have? Babies. Thank you for everybody who responded there. Yes, I will bless her richly, and she will become the mother of many nations. Kings of nations will be among her descendants. Then Abraham bowed down to the ground, but he laughed at himself in disbelief. How could I become a father at the age of 100? It's impossible, people. Without God, that is impossible, he thought. And how can Sarah have a baby when she's nearly 90 years old? So Abraham said to God, may Ishmael, who's the son that he had with the servant, live under your special blessing. But God replied, no, Sarah, your wife, will give birth to a son for you. His name will be Isaac, and I will confirm my covenant with him and his descendants as an everlasting covenant. As for Ishmael, I will bless him also, just as you have asked. I will make him extremely fruitful and multiply his descendants. He will become the father of 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant, say my covenant, will be confirmed with Isaac. Again, Sarah took things into her own hands and unplugged Daniel's PlayStation by giving her husband her servant and having a kid with him. And that was not God's design for them. That was not the plan. That was not the promise. But in her haste, she made a bad decision. Isaac, who will be born to you and Sarah about this time next year. Then can you go to the next one, please? Chapter 18. The Lord then appears to Abraham, and Sarah overhears. She laughs at the thought that an old lady is to have a child. Has anybody ever laughed at the thought that God's promise was just way too wild? Has anybody ever had something spoken over them that they're like, no, there's no way that can happen? Anybody? Yeah? Are you guys okay over there? Yeah? Okay. So she laughed at him. She laughed at this, and she said, then the Lord said to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? And why did she say, can an old woman like me have a baby? Then, a couple of chapters later, in chapter 21, Isaac is born when Abraham is 100 years old. And again, old people what? Can't have babies, people. This is wild stuff. And Isaac would become the father of Jacob and the grandfather of the 12 tribes of Israel. So, what can we learn from this, guys? There are things in our life, like I said, I'm waiting on God for some things as well. A huge thing of that is, I don't know if many of you know my testimony, maybe some of you do, but I've been serving God alone since I'm 26, since I was 13. So I was a 13-year-old youth coming to youth group by myself, finding rides to church by myself, because my family doesn't serve God. So in my immediate family, other than Daniel now, of course, because we're married, I'm the only one. I'm the only one who serves God. I'm the only one who, I've just been in this by myself for so long. And maybe some of you can relate to that. Guys, can I just get your attention, please? Thank you. I'm not going to be too long. Maybe some of you are in here today, and that resonates with you. Maybe you're the only believer in your house. Maybe you want to live this life with God, but you feel alone in this. You feel like, okay, well, I come to youth, or maybe your parents are Christians, but they don't act like Christians at home. I know a lot of those. Maybe you come to youth and you feel like, oh, God, I love being here. I just feel your presence. I love being around these people. I get filled up, and then I get home, and I get yelled at the whole car ride home. You don't have to agree with me, but maybe some of you have that experience. Maybe some of you have that experience of I don't know why I'm going in this direction, but maybe some of you have been waiting on God to change that relationship with your parents. As I was praying today, I felt like there was someone, or maybe some people, who are waiting on God to see that relationship change in their house, to see something break in their house, to see God move in some way, because right now, things are not going the way that you had thought that they would. So anyways, I've been serving God by myself, and a huge weight of mine in my life, weight as in like waiting on him, no. I'm both weights actually, it's a weight on my chest too. I would love to see my family serving the Lord, because it can get very lonely. If any of you have that experience, you know that being the only Christian or not having parents that are Christians, it's very hard sometimes, because you want to live this life out, but it's not being supported at home. So I just wanted to talk about today, most of you guys put up your hand for something that you're waiting on God. So I just want everybody to close their eyes again and think about that thing that you're waiting on. It could be, like I said, it could be for something to change in your heart, a weight that you're waiting on God from. Maybe you're struggling with an addiction. Maybe you've been asking God to take away this desire in your heart. Maybe you're, I don't know. Maybe you're struggling with pornography in here, and you've been asking God to take that desire away from you, and you're so waiting on him to really move in your life. Maybe you have a grandmother or a friend who's sick in the hospital or has gotten bad news from doctors. Maybe that could be your weight. Maybe you're in the same boat as me, and you're just so desperately wanting your family to know Christ and just to live this life in God with your family. You can maybe turn on something, Daniel. I don't know. I don't know everything about you guys. I love you guys all, but only God knows what's going on inside your heart. So with your eyes still closed, I just wanted to read some verses over you guys and then encourage you with this. As you're, you know what? If you guys could just put your hands out in front of you, as if you're going to like receive something from God, like an actual, like he's going to plop it in your hands. I just wanted to encourage you guys with these verses. And again, I don't know what you're going through. If you want, you could say it out loud, or you can whisper it. Whatever that weight is, whatever you're waiting on the Lord just to do in your life, to move in your life. Maybe you're in here and you need some Christian friends, and you've been asking God, please just send me a Christian friend. I'm so alone. I feel so alone. Maybe that's you today. I don't know what the struggle is, but I want to read these things over you guys today. So you could still close your eyes and just listen to the word. In Psalms 27:14, it says, wait patiently for the Lord. Be brave and courageous. Yes, wait patiently for the Lord. And then in Isaiah, it says, pay attention, O Jacob, for you are my servant, O Israel. I, the Lord, made you, and I will not forget you. And if you're feeling forgotten in this place, just know that God sees you, he hears you, and he actually loves to hear when you call out to him. And something that I wanted to bring up to you guys is that in our waiting, it could be easy to grow weary, which means, say you're running a race, and by the second last lap, you are just like, I can't go any further. I can't push forward. I just feel like quitting. Some of you may feel like quitting in here because you're not seeing anything change. You're not seeing your family come. You're not seeing that person be healed. You're not seeing these things get any better. You're not seeing your family's financial situation get any better. I want to encourage you today that God sees you just like he saw Jacob. And he says that he does not forget about you. And then in Luke 18, it says, he replied, what is impossible for people is possible with God. And lastly, in Romans 8, it says, no, despite all these things, I want you guys to repeat after me, okay? No, despite all these things, overwhelming victory is ours through Christ who loved us. I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love. Neither death or life, neither angels nor demons, neither fears for today, nor worries about tomorrow. Not even the powers of hell can separate us from God's love. No power in the sky above or in the earth below. Indeed, nothing in all creation will ever be able to separate us from the love of God that is revealed in Christ Jesus our Lord. Yes. So guys, I want to have some time that we can just set aside for God to minister to your hearts. If you feel like you're in this waiting period with the Lord and you feel like he's not hearing you, or you feel like time is going by and you're growing weary, or you're just concerned. You're concerned in that way. I'm concerned. I'm going through, like everybody, like we're all human, right? There's so many things in my heart that I'm waiting on God for, and it affects you. And most recently, I've been going through this thing where I'm in my own strength, I'm trying so hard to not grow weary, but I am. I'm growing weary, and I've hit this point where I was like, okay, God, once again, I have to come to you and admit I've been doing things on my own. So if you feel like you've been waiting on your own and you haven't been waiting patiently in the Lord, if you feel like he's forgotten you, or you feel overwhelmed in this wait of that thing that you guys are waiting for, I want to invite you guys up, and I want to pray for you. We have some lits and sublits tonight that are on for prayer, but if you feel like you just need to be with God, Daniel and I can pray with you guys. Daniel, can you put that song on by Kim Walker? Do you know the one I'm talking about? Unstoppable Love. Or, you know that one? Yeah. So there was two things that today while I was praying, I just was feeling in my spirit. And this is you. I do invite you to come up. Not because God is not more holy up here, guys. I want to make that clear. Daniel and I are not more holy than you praying on your own, but there's something about making that sacrifice and being alone with God and saying, God, I need you. I'm sacrificing my pride to come up here and be encouraged by your family. And we are a family here, guys. So the two things that I felt in my spirit today was, number one, if you are waiting on somebody to be healed in your family, or someone you know, and you're just consumed with fear, or you're consumed with anxiety or worry,